Whether you're a manager or a policymaker or run your own company, you're often going to have to make the following simple choice. You have a decision to make. You've got data on which to make the decision. Should I use my intuition, my judgment, my expertise in making a choice, or should I rely on a model? Now let's think about the difference between the expertise of a model versus the expertise of an expert, a manager, a policymaker. Why does a model outperform an expert? Well, there are three simple reasons. The first, models are consistent. They are, after all, mathematical equations. They can compute well, they can compute consistently, they don't get bored. And so anytime you give the model the same set of data, it is always going to return to you the same prediction. Second, models are never biased. Models don't care about framing. They interpret information down to its very basics. They are not influenced by organizational politics. They're completely unemotional. They have no attachment to any of the options. Third, models never get tired. They don't get fatigued. The attention that a model gives to a problem is going to be the same whether it has already solved 100 such problems or if it's doing it for the very first time. With managers, all of these three are issues. We are, like it or not, influenced by the context, and we've talked a lot about that. We are influenced by tiredness, and we are, of course, emotional. That said, experts have a place in the world. And in particular, there are 4 reasons why experts make better decisions or better judgments than models. First, you've got to keep in mind that a model only knows what the expert tells it. It's the expert who decides which cues are relevant. It's the expert that decides how to value those cues. And so if you don't have an expert, you're not going to have a model in the first place. Second, when we think about attributes, there are some attributes that are easy to evaluate. If you're buying a product, the price is an easy to evaluate attribute. There are some that are not. So let's say you're hiring. You're looking for creativity in an individual. That's not easy to measure. Experts are good at evaluating attributes that are difficult to evaluate. Models don't know how to do it. Third, experts can change strategy as a function of time. Experts can change strategy as a function of what is changing in the context. If there's a recession, the expert knows what to overweight and what to underweight. If there's a new product being launched by a competitor, the expert knows how to adjust the importance weightings. Models don't know how to do that. And finally, experts have access to more cues, more pieces of information than models ever do. Remember we talked about interaction effects? Experts can actually mentally think through interaction effects. Models can't do it. They will keep using the same cues again and again and again, even when those cues are not relevant. So obviously, both the expert and the model are bringing something to the table. And the question is, which of these should we choose? Now that question was precisely the heart of an interesting research paper that was done by Bob Bladberg and Steve Hoke, where they compared the predictability of the judgments and in fact the quality of the outcome of a model versus an expert. And what they did was 6 different experiments across 6 different companies, different judgments, different sets of data, but here's what was common to all of them. In every experiment, either a manager got a bunch of data or a model was given the same bunch of data, and Hoke and Bladberg simply looked at the performance of the manager versus the performance of the model. What is performance? The correlation between what they predicted and the correlation and the truth. Now, what you'll see are 6 sets of bars in this chart here. The pink bars stand for the performance of the model. The violet bars stand for the performance of the expert. What do the green bars do? What they did with the green bars was they simply took an average prediction, which was the average of what the model said and what the manager said, 50-50. And the green bars represent the performance of the average as compared to the other 2 bars. And what you see across all of these 6 experiments is that the green bar is always the tallest, which means that the average performance of the model and the manager is better than the model alone or the manager alone. Now, this is a story we've seen before. We said the same thing with experts. If you take 2 experts and you average their prediction, it is better than the prediction of any one expert. And it's the same story all over again. Think about the expert in this case and the model as 2 different experts. They're diverse. They bring different skills. One brings consistency, The other one brings an ability to look at cues differently. And so when you average them, you end up with an engine that is supreme as compared to either of those two independently. So next time when you think about using a decision support system and you think about using your own judgment, think about it not as a which one should I pick decision, but how should I combine them? And the easiest prescription based on the research you just saw is 50-50. Make your own judgment independent of what the model says. Let the model make its judgment. Look at the outputs, take the average, and you will do better than either yourself or the model independently.